Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be learning about how do we count the various goods and services and know the total production in each sector. As thousands of economic activities going around in all the three sectors, it make almost impossible to take account of every such activities. In an economy, varieties of products are being produced. For example, a pen is also being produced and a car is also being produced. We can see a lot of varieties in each and every sector. So it is very difficult to keep the account of each and every production. So we need to have a certain calculation that will help us to understand which sector is contributing the maximum in the economy. Heading towards, firstly, I have given a simple example that will help you understand how we are calculating. Suppose a farmer is growing a crop or a wheat and he is selling that wheat to a grinding mill. At what price? 8 rupees per kg. And that grinding mill is grinding and making flour, and he is sending that flour to a manufacturing sector, a biscuit manufacturing company. Okay, at what price? 12 rupees per kg. And that biscuit manufacturing companies is making use of intermediate products like your sugar, your oil, and making a biscuit and selling at what price? 60 rupees per packet. Now you are having the final values in your hand. Add up all these final values. 8 plus 12 plus 60 gives you 80. So it will shows that this much production is being done. So we can consider this as GDP. Your GDP is what? Gross domestic product. Okay, I hope you would have understood this. When you are calculating or doing this calculation, you need to follow certain precaution. What are those precaution? Add the value of final goods and services only. Second one, intermediate goods are not included. Okay, you are not going to, suppose you are making biscuit and in that you are using sugar also and oil also. So you are not going to separately add the values of suppose sugar and your oil, because you have come up with the value that is your 60 rupees. That is your final value. You will take that. Okay. Next, now we'll be talking about what is GDP. The value of final goods and services produced in three sectors during a particular year provides the total production of the sector for that year is called gross domestic product of country. Now this GDP is calculated for a fixed time period, that is 1 year, and this GDP will tell you how much bigger is the economy of country. In GDP, you are going to include consumption, government spending, investment, and net export. These things are you going to include. But the income that is coming outside from the country, you are not going to include that. Suppose a person is settled in America and is sending half of income to his family member in India. So you are not going to include that in your GDP. Okay. Now moving to the next is your historical changes in sector. In this we'll be studying about how one sector is being replaced by the other sector. We'll be studying that. At initial stage of development, primary sector was the most important sector of economic activity in the country. With the innovation in farming method, agriculture sector began to produce much more food than before. People started working in industries. Some people also get involved in transportation. Gradually, secondary sector become the most important in the economy and providing employment. Different industries related to food processing, equipment making, textile coming in large number. This led to the start of services such as banking, health, education, etc. The service sector has become the most important sector in terms of total production and started employing more people. Okay, what is there in this? I'll show you. Suppose in the starting your primary sector, okay, I am representing by abbreviation. You just P is from primary sector, then your secondary sector, and then is your tertiary sector. In the starting, your primary sector was gaining more importance. Okay, means lot of people were involved in this, and it was giving the highest GDP to the country. Now what happened with the start of development, people started shifting. They started shifting to the secondary, and from the secondary they started shifting to the tertiary sector. अगर हम आज की बात करें तो जो टर्शरी सेक्टर है उसका जो इन्वॉल्वमेंट है, उसका जो कंट्रीब्यूशन है वो जीडीपी में सबसे ज़्यादा है, हाईएस्ट है जीडीपी के अंदर. ओके, और प्राइमरी का सेक्टर जो जीडीपी के अंदर है वो जीडीपी के अंदर है वो इन दोनों सेक्टर्स के कंपैरिजन में लो है. समझ आई चीज़ें. नेक्स्ट, अब क्या है, व्हाट हैपन नाउ, there are many reasons why the people are shifting from primary sector to the secondary and from the secondary sector to the tertiary sector. We'll be discussing in the next class. But before that, I have shown you graph. In this graph, you will have a clear picture how the shift is taking place. This one. Okay. In 1973-74, you can see a large number of people were involved in the your primary sector. This one your blue color is your primary sector, and its contribution was maximum as compared to the other sector. In 2013 and 14, your primary sector, your green portion you can see, that is your tertiary sector. Your tertiary sector has gained more importance in 2013 and 14. Okay, this is how the sectors are being replaced. So in the next class, we'll be discussing about the factors why they are being replaced. That's all for the day. Thank you and have a nice day.